Okay, it's officially time for the A to Z mini rework my thoughts, ideas, changes, so on and so forth for LeBlanc The Deceiver. So, magic damage without a doubt, style 100% abilities, yes. Difficulty 3, this is true, but I would honestly say she's closer. She's very close to being like a difficulty 2 in some cases. High damage, medium crowd control, and high mobility. This is all true and all very annoying. Mysterious even to other members of the Black Rose Cabal. LeBlanc is but one of many names for a pale woman who has manipulated people and events since the earliest days of Noxus. Using her magic to mirror herself, the sorceress can appear to anyone, anywhere, and even be in many places at once. Always plotting just out of sight, LeBlanc's true motives are as inscrutable as her shifting identity. I wish they actually focused a little bit more on her, changing over anything else. Okay, mirror image. When LeBlanc drops below 40% health, she becomes invisible for 1 second and creates a mirror image that deals no damage and lasts for up to 8 seconds. Mirror image has 1 minute cooldown. Mirror image can be controlled by holding the Alt key and using the right mouse button. Interesting. Sigil of Malice. LeBlanc projects a sigil dealing damage and marking the target for 3.5 seconds. Damaging the marked target with an ability detonates the sigil, dealing additional damage. Okay, ability. It hurts a whole lot, especially when you've been already affected. Distortion. I hate this ability. LeBlanc dashes to a location, dealing magic damage to enemies near her destination. For the next 4 seconds, activate Distortion again to return LeBlanc to her starting location. That is stupid. This is dumb. Ethereal Chain. LeBlanc launches a chain that shackles the first enemy hit. If the target remains shackled for 1.5 seconds, LeBlanc roots them and deals additional damage. Still stupid. Mimic. LeBlanc casts a mimicked version of one of her basic spells. So it basically just allows her to recast her one of her spells. So honestly, I very much dislike LeBlanc. She is an overall good assassin. She's kind of useless super late game, but early game and mid game, she is stupidly strong. She is too strong early game, and mid game is still strong, but yeah. Honestly, I would blame all of that on her W for the most part. I do wish that her kit was more centered the way her lore was. Kind of like just having multiple versions of her. Like, just imagine if she had an ability that allowed her to make a clone of her. And she could do this multiple times. And she could not necessarily control all the clones, but like have some sort of idea on some way to control them in a sense. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. I hate her W so much because you cannot trade with her W. You just have to hit her while she's Wing, and that is it. But besides that, she could literally just W to you and Q you, or like Q you then W a second later, and now your health bar's been chunked, and you haven't been able to touch her once. So it's just very annoying in that sense. I find her E fine for the most part, even though the hitbox of this ability is not. It's so janky. I don't know what else to say. It is just the most jank thing. There are so many times where you see that ability and you go, wow, that missed. And then the next thing you know, it hit you and you're stunned, and you're being rooted, and you're just like, but that missed. So it's kind of difficult to fathom that specific ability. So I would adjust the hitbox on her fucking E, because it's just not right. Her ult is fine. Her W, I hate the fact that she can just blink back. If anything, I would make it so that she dashes back to where her starting location was, or something like that. Or like I'd make it so that her W is she creates a clone of herself, launches herself forward, but leaves the clone back where she first started, where the clone will just like auto attack or something like that. And then she is capable of like dashing back to that clone, and then the clone will dash to her. So like they'll both basically just swap places. And then like the clone will continue to auto attack once it goes back to the other area, or once they swap places. That would go better with her lore of, being in multiple places at the same time. That was one thing that I actually liked about her old alt, is the fact that she could just make a clone that could just travel. Her Q just hurts so much. So much. Like, I don't know what else to say about, like, you can't dodge it. You can't, because it's a point and click. It hurts so badly, and especially if they wait for your thing to go off, or like for the part of the passive that puts that little thing around you that causes it to do more damage. It just hurts so bad, and it's just not fair. It just genuinely just blows you up, and there's nothing you can really do about it because, yet again, point and click. So, if anything, I'd keep her passive the same. I would adjust her Q in some sort of way, shape, or form. I would prefer it if they didn't make it a point and click. I'd make it so that her W... I'd make it so that like all of her abilities make a clone to some extent. Like, her passive is just fine the way it is. Her Q, like, she releases a sigil, but then she also creates a clone of herself where that sigil stood, or, like, when she did it, and yada, yada, yada. Her W, I already said how I'd do that abilities, and that way they'd swap places. And then her E, like, after she roots someone, or like after she tethers someone, a clone goes out and walks towards the tethered person. If they're actually rooted, then the clone will start auto-attacking the tethered person. That way it really won't do any damage because they're auto-attacks, but at the same time it'll be like, this is slightly more damage than you were dealing before. And then her ult is she basically just makes a clone anyway, so yeah, it's not that bad. So it basically works anyway. But yeah, I would basically do that. I would adjust her W so that I would adjust each of her abilities to like basically just add a clone in some way, shape, or form. I'd lower her damage output with her Q and her E just a little bit, not a lot, because I do think that she should do a lot, like a good amount of damage. I'd fix the hitbox of her E because it's just not right. And I'd change her W so that they swap places instead of... or that they like pooled to each other, swapping places instead of just blinking back to your original location, because that is stupid. And then Q, I would love to that be changed in some sort of way so it doesn't one-shot me every time. Okay, now we got LeBlanc's skin. We got the Wicked LeBlanc, which is mediocre. Prestigious LeBlanc, which I like, honestly. Mistletoe LeBlanc, which really isn't that good. Ravenborn LeBlanc, which is actually kind of cool. Elderwood LeBlanc, I really don't like the skin. I think it fits the theme pretty well, but besides that, it's really not that great. Program LeBlanc, I think is okay, and is okay with the theme, but in general, I really don't like it that much. And IG LeBlanc, which... obviously, it's good. It's one of the IG skins, but... So... this LeBlanc, after this skin got like slightly changed, it looks a lot better than what it used to. I'd give it a solid like 6 out of 10. I don't know why I like the skin as much as I do, but it's getting an 8 out of 10. This is a solid 4 out of 10. The Ravenborn really is good, but ain't great. It fits the team, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. This is getting another 6 out of 10. Like, it fits the theme well, but that's really about it. I like this skin, but I really don't love this skin. This one also getting a 6 out of 10. And this one will just get an 8 out of 10 as well. So, yeah, LeBlanc skins really aren't stellar, but they aren't bad either. There's majority of them are higher tier, but still. But But for the most part, that is LeBlanc the Deceiver. I really wish that she just went with her lore more, in the sense that each of her abilities did something with a clone of some sort. I wish that her W is changed because it makes her just so ridiculously slippery. I wish that hitbox on her E was fixed, and I kind of wish that they'd mess with either the damage or the skill shot factor or just anything with your Q, because, ugh. So honestly, not major changes. And that has been LeBlanc the Deceiver. So I'm going to thank you all very much for watching this video. If you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, whether it's with the skins, the abilities, the overview, whatever, I don't care. If you disagree or agree with anything, just please leave it down in the comments down below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So I'm going to thank you all very much for watching, and I am going to bid you all adieu. Goodbye.